outside activities with these
Yeah, and
Well, you could do it if it's a planned development. It's really easy to do. You say no outside venues within so many feet of a residential district.
yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
yeah, I think that there's probably two things that are maybe we're a little deficient on. One is new development, but then also is use of existing development. So how can we, do you feel like it's addressed somewhere for new development here somewhere? I don't see it. I,
But it has that thing. Yeah.
say again?
Mike's saying we actually have a section of ordinance right now that controls that.
the whole section with noise pollution, got that with county fire, whole list of things, private, conference, all that stuff. That they can't do it, but conference, they do it after.
So maybe in the concept plan, maybe just propose methods for compliance with the nuisance ordinance. Would it be something like that?
Yeah.
And if the nuisance ordinances don't apply to them or their businesses doesn't have any perceived violations of that, then it's a pretty simple statement, right?
Yeah, it'd be an NA.
Yeah. But if they're a bar that's going to have outside bands playing at 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe we need to know about that. You'll know about it, all right. All right. So that you dropped that in the concept.
We're going to have it in a concept, but also have to have it on a site plan.
Site plan too. Okay, good. All right, what if somebody wanted to come in here and put a rendering plan in here, and the next thing you know, they're just fouling the air of the whole city?
Yeah. We're not going to let it happen because that's an industrial use.
Well, we have industrial areas, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, there's a lot of things with rendering plans. Well, I use those terms all the time when I'm talking to cities that don't have zoning.
Yeah.
Especially small cities, and they don't want zoning. I say, yeah, everything is good. You can do everything you want to until your neighbor comes up with something that you really don't like. And I always say a rendering plan.
Yeah.
And they got some old dead cow they dump out in the front yard. You sort of start to get a little rank. You're going to complain. But you know what? If you don't have a zoning, you have no land.
Yeah, we got semi after semi bringing hides and carcasses of animals in, and they're boiling and steaming the meat off of the bones and cutting the hair off of hides. It's gonna stink pretty bad around here. So, do we want to know about those kind of things before we get too far down the process of saying, oh look, Ralston wants to build another plant. That's awesome. It's a big name company. No, you don't want that. So how do we deal with stuff like that?
I think we just dealt with something similar to that not too long ago. Somebody wanted to put a garbage action station.
Garbage compaction station?
Yeah, where you get people from all over bringing garbage in, and then they compress it, then they take it out somewhere way far to a landfill somewhere.
So
they want to get garbage from all different cities and bring them into Haskell. No, we don't think so.
So do we have any air quality standards, or it's really not environmental, right? Because you may not be having a negative impact on the, you know, soil, water, but it could certainly have an impact from an air quality standpoint. So do we have anything in our ordinances that you're aware of from an air quality? Or maybe it's just in the concept plan, if the proposed business will
There
have.
are there's a brief discussion of nuisances of smells, odors, what they are.
So maybe we just take a note then to revisit that to see if it's appropriately written to.
A topic use like that is that listed or allowed. So, allowed. Yep. It right there. We do allow it, like place it in its own. Out of.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful because, you know, if somebody says, "Hey, I want to build a Burger King," okay, well, yeah, but then they flame broil their burgers. You know, you're going to smell that stuff, right? Well, that's a little different than somebody building a rendering plant. Now, I wouldn't want to smell the burgers cooking either all the time, but.
Good question there. That somebody can
By saying we don't want it in our city.
It'd be a hard road to hoe to get there.
Yeah, for one thing, they didn't have the zone, but appropriate zone.
at the location I want. Did not fit the zone.
Yeah.
Not what it did. Yeah.
As long as they met all the rules.
Yeah.
Then you can't really say
Can't you say no to no?
that's correct.
That's right. Fact. Good.
So. So
But
how,
see, they could always apply for zoning, but when we tell them, here's what our recommendation is going to be. I don't really know, but no.
So can we just add to our list, you know, when we continue our discussion next time, we look at the nuisance ordinance for odoriferous or, you know, foul smells that are generated as a result of a business and how that would fit into our ordinance? There's
Sure.
got to be examples of how people dealt with that before. We're gonna build a diaper cleaning service right next to, yeah.
And there's all kinds of things like, well, there's actually a new thing going on right now that come up where they want to put in casino. But you know, like Choctaw out in the middle of nowhere is different than if it's right in the middle of Dallas, because it attracts a lot of different
Right.
that you really don't want. Choctaw gets away with it other places because nobody congregates. But like Las Vegas, get away from the strip. Yes, the strip's real nice. My understanding, once you leave the strip, you go around the corner. It's not so pretty. There. So you got to be real careful what you allow, even though it's allowed. You really want.
So what
Yeah, they got like 6 square feet that they can put on somewhere.
They're allowed, but you know, it's one of the things I've done in the past in some other cities is, yeah, they're allowed. Here's the rules. You can do them in these places. Oh, but by the way, the city owns those places. They're like the sewer treatment plant, the water treatment plant, or a well, or James's building. Oh, well,
Yeah. some
they're
things we-
allowed, but we're not selling our property. And you can legally get away with it.
All right, so let's move off of that, move back onto this.
Okay.
And so I think that would be a good discussion to have, kind of tying out some of the things that, like that could be impacted to our residents. Is that a pretty good list to start with?
It is. It's a great.
Okay. We didn't get to the use cases, and I can transfer responsibility for closing the meeting if you guys want to continue. I do have kind of an obligation I need to get to this evening. So would you guys like to continue, or do you want to wrap up with? Okay. So could we get the the permitted use tables emailed to us so that we can look those over?
Yes, and I've already got that.
Okay.
You know, I pulled it out of the ordinance,
Yeah.
and so I've got it in two forms. It's a PDF and also a Word document. The reason why we didn't print it out is 41 pages.
Yeah, it's a lot. So we had tentatively, or I guess we said we weren't not going to meet in August. Do we still want to stay with that and then just meet in September?
Yeah, because this building's going to be closed down when you normally.
Yeah. So are we okay? Is there anything in front of us that we need to that would be impacted by us coming to a timely resolution of this?
Yeah, we're working.
So we're telling them no now because there's not a current permitted use for that.
That is correct.
It doesn't fall under permitted use, and we're taking that up and figuring out where that would be appropriately placed. Okay, all right.
Is it possible to have the bigger agenda rather than the statement here?
So great discussion. Hopefully I didn't occupy too much of the time and didn't give you guys a chance to think and contribute. But when we come back together, if you have other ideas and you have suggestions on things that we need to do, I really want to hear your voice. I don't really want to hear mine all the time, but I will contribute and share thoughts, concerns. Go ahead. But I really want to hear business. Okay.
Yeah, and when we send this chart out, there's usually a P for permitted, and if it's got a S in it, with an SUP, and then if it's got an asterisk on it, that means there's other criteria that add to it. And those are I didn't print those out or make it part of the file, but they're in the ordinance just following. Blank. Yeah, blankets not allowed.
All right, so we will continue our workshop into our next regularly scheduled meeting, and which will be September. And if you, no meeting in August because the city offices and buildings will be closed. And there is the attached report if you want to know how developments are progressing throughout the city. And we already know one of our future agenda items. And I don't know if you have anything you could say about anything else going on right now that would be coming out in September.
No, but we will have some things. If things start cooking a little bit more on a couple items, there may need to be a special.
Okay. So let's plan that our next meeting is probably going to be a little bit longer than we have experienced in the last 6 or 12 months. So let's try to really work through this and get it right and give you something that you can walk away with and come up with write the changes in and then get it. Right. Okay. And those usually are fairly quick. Okay. We are adjourned. The time is 7:31 p.m.